All right, Grasshoppers, we are back from stormy or storm damaged Florida. You're in Naples, right?
Naples, Florida, baby. Naples,
Wow.
Estero, Fort Myers. It's all destroyed, and I'm still. Luckily, I'm still standing.
Yeah, it's interesting. My son's wife, so obviously his in-laws, they live in Naples as well, but it was a newer construction. So I guess because of that new construction, everything they had no damage whatsoever. But yeah, then you talk to other people, and yeah, it's a mess. So again,
Uh,
guys, this is the great coach Rich Gaberti. Rich and I coached together many years ago with the Westchester Mariners in Rye, New York. Famous for taking his shirt off during games. He's a fantastic guy, and it's worthwhile. I say it every time we're on the show. Look at those guns. Uh, so I say it every time I see a young man that Rich coached in the past, it's really never really about the hockey as much as about all the great things he did for them as people. So we've done shows now for like 8-9 weeks now. We missed last week because of the hurricane, but
yeah, the hurricane. The hurricane kind of sidetracked us there.
yeah, good. So you did not have any damage, and nobody was hurt in your
No,
family or
nobody
loved
was
one.
hurt. No, nobody was hurt, and that's what counts. And there was damage, car in the water, and
Well, that's right.
stuff like that. A bunch of cars went in the water. So just so anybody knows, there is, and I'm not a scoreboard with this or an official, but there's over, I would say, 80 people that have lost their lives in this, which is, as you and I know, the most
Yeah.
important thing and the most unfortunate thing is that 80 people lost their lives, numerous houses destroyed, the beaches are wrecked. We put together a video. Hopefully, we'll figure out how to get it out there. And if we don't do it today, we'll post it like after the show or something. But just showing the devastation. If you're down here, Marco Island, pretty well beat up.
Yeah.
Naples, pretty well beat up on on the beach. Anything on the beach down here. The path of this was supposed to go to Tampa. It wasn't supposed to. It wasn't supposed to really just supposed to touch this area.
Right.
I think maybe that, and it's nobody's fault. You can't. This is something Tom. Anybody trying to blame anybody about something with this is like so effing incorrect.
I know. I saw an article. I think it was USA Today blaming officials or saying did they do enough to warn people or get them out of harm's way. People are going to stay or not stay if they don't want to stay. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's Mother Nature. I mean,
Yeah.
this is nature. This is you can't. What are you going to do? Stop a hurricane? It's not going to happen.
No.
So the hurricane goes where it wants to. They guess they have nobody knows precisely where it goes and they have 5 different models. So there's 5 or 6 different models, and each path showed that this was going to go up to Tampa. And luckily for Tampa, it didn't. It just made a right turn and hit Marco Island, Naples, Estero, and Fort Myers, and Cape Coral. And I'm missing whoever I'm missing. I apologize, but it destroyed anything and everything in its path.
Yeah.
So people died. I mean, that's the most terrible thing. Sanibel Island, the bridge that takes people to Sanibel Island is in pieces. So those people, in essence, were stranded. But of course, everybody is acting as fast as they can. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not affiliated with anybody, but law enforcement spectacular. I think the National Guard was mobilized. Everybody, everybody has jumped in, and FEMA's down here helping people. I mean, they gave me a bag of food and this and that, and I said I don't need, not that I don't need it, but I can't have this. So luckily, I made a wrong turn somewhere, and I ended up driving into some people living in their car, and we gave them the food. You got to give them the food, and so it was spectacular to be able to help people, and so that's what I really have focused on is helping people.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I don't know if I get aggravated, but I think people say, well, it restores your faith in humanity, this kind of stuff. To me, it doesn't restore. I have faith in humanity already. We've talked about this before, I think, where, we hear all the bad news all the time. We'll concentrate on this country. We hear all the bad stuff, there's racism and all that. And there's no question there's bad stuff. But man, there's so many great people doing great things every day, not just during a crisis like this, but it's just, again, we just get conditioned to see all the negative stuff and saying, look at the positive stuff we've got going on in our country and the world. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line is that I try not to look at the negative. So, I mean, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the fact that there are so many people working so much harder than me on doing things, so that whatever I can do, I mean, because I'm not going to sit here number one, you're not going to the beach to sit in the sun because there isn't any beach. Okay, so that's the first
Oh,
thing.
really? Is it that bad? Really? That bad?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
This is. Oh yeah. I mean that, and the yeah. That's why I'll put this video. The video I have is like it's like tear inducing. You know, it's amazing. So I mean, it just wiped out, and the Fort Myers boardwalk is gone. The Naples Pier, Naples Boardwalk is gone. You know, stuff like that. The bridge, the bridge that's gone, if you're up in New York, is like, I don't know, the length of longer than the Whitestone or Throgs Neck Bridge.
well,
You know,
well.
so you know, if you want a New York reference, that's it. So yeah, it's pretty
So Rich is working from home today. Normally we have Rich in the studio, but he's working from home, so we're kind of bouncing it out a little bit. But
all right.
no problem. That's fine. We're good.
Yep. I mean, good.
So all your family, like your sons, they're not down there, are they? Still back
Nobody's
up here?
down here. Yeah. No, nobody's. You know, so this is all. This is where I, you know, situated. As a matter of fact, Louis was talking about coming down. And obviously that's going to be postponed because who would want anybody to visit when you have such limited services?
Really?
Why fly into you know, it's basically like a war zone here per se.
Well, the airport's damaged. The airports are still working.
The airport was like the little airport in North Naples that we fly that RV-12 out of. That was closed. It's just recently opened, but it's only, you know, you can't go up and sightsee or anything like that. So that is, I think, restricted flights or whatever. But then the RSW, the Southwest, you know, the one in Fort Myers, that is that was closed up until maybe today or tomorrow, supposedly. What do we got? We got Dory. Tom's still waiting. Listen to her.
Dory, I felt awful that Rich is going through this terrible time, and that, you know, for you and I to get together and get to know each other and do this, I felt guilty that it would be like unfair to him. That's the delay.
There you go. What a sweetheart, Tom. You know the funniest thing I got to tell you while we're laughing. Thank you, Dory, for popping in. But the funniest thing is that I forgot exactly when, but either last Thursday or last Friday, whenever it was, I had a chance. I had power for a second. So I said, I wonder what Tom did without me. And there you are. Your backdrop is a beach. Palm trees.
Oh, I swear I was kind of thinking to you, like, okay, should I do this or not? Like, it was kind of funny at the time.
No, it was great. Yeah, it's hilarious. So, listen, if you can laugh in the sight of like adventure and despair and adversity, you got to laugh at it. You know, you have to keep your sense of humor. How's that?
Yeah, totally.
You know.
So we were talking. I don't know if we were talking on air about it. I bought myself a drone finally, right? I know you had a drone before.
I crashed mine, but go ahead.
So you were talking about how the controls, like if you wanted to go forward, you had to push or pull the joystick back. Mine was not like that. It's just if you want to go forward, you move forward. Yeah.
Well, that might be the next level.
Yeah. I didn't spend that much money on. The only problem is I can't. So I think you have to go step by step through the instruction, but you got to hook up the GPS and all that kinds of stuff. So I've gotten to the point where I can't. I got to get outside someplace where I got some room where the satellites can get to my thing. So it hasn't flown yet, but we're looking forward to it. So
you want to answer that? You want to answer that call? It might be somebody important.
No, it's not. I don't know. It's
Gretzky. Gretzky's on the phone.
I'm busy. I'm too busy for him.
Listen, Wayne has been trying to get in touch with me. Pick it up, and might be the only way to get me.
Right. So he's Wayne Gretzky's worried about you. Like he knows you're down there in the center of the storm.
Of course he does. Yeah, sure. I'm surprised he hasn't mentioned me to you. He's probably keeping our relationship a secret.
What do you think he's thinking? Okay, let's get into the brain side. So his daughter has sent like a lot of racy pictures, a lot of stories about her. What do you think? Do you think he sits down with her and says, "Honey, can you please? I spent my whole life building a reputation for myself. Do you think maybe you can kind of tone it down a little bit?" You think he has that conversation?
I'm so glad I don't have a daughter, Tom.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's my answer there. That is my answer there. I am glad I never had a daughter. Out of everything that has been thrown my way, I think that God realized I couldn't handle that.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
So I appreciate that. Right. I mean, God only gives you what you can handle. Right. So my thought process is why is he overestimating me? Like, how is it that like COVID drives me down here? And so just when I'm starting to get settled, I got a nice routine. I'm shaving my lemons and I'm doing my thing with the sunrise and the sunset. Next thing you know, let's destroy the whole freaking place. You know?
Wow.
So it's you know, and you know what made me, what was interesting for me, and I was you know, because here I am, I'm down here, there was no power. I just got power back, I think yesterday or the day before, whatever, maybe yesterday. Okay. So there was no power. So no power means no cell phone, no access to the internet, no, you know, no social media, no Zoom calls, anything that I've been doing to support myself and help me with my sanity is gone. But yet you're still posting at 3, you know, at 3:53, you know, which means that you were up at 3 something. And by the way, psychologically, I don't know what it is, but like I now wake up instead, like you've gotten me now into the 3s. Like I used to wake up at 2 and have those negative thoughts. Now in the 3s, I have.
Okay. We'll push it back.
Yeah, we're pushing it back. So that's going on. And then you're still walking out, you know, like you have your whole routine. Meanwhile, I can't even like freeze my lemons and shave them. You know, it was interesting. And then here's another one. Like I felt guilty going to the gym down here, especially for the first couple of days. There was no gym, but I felt guilty even like working out. So what I did was I started to like move tree limbs. You know, like the trees all fell down.
Yeah,
sure. So I started pulling them until I pulled one that was a little too hard. I hurt my back. I was like, you know, right around the wing. Yeah, right around the shoulder.
That's a good workout though. That's an excellent workout. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I was trying to adapt, but let me tell you something. Those branches, they're heavy.
Yeah.
I never realized it. Yeah, you can't just like toss those things around. They're heavier than pushing a car. So yeah.
When I was a teenager, I was working on a horse farm up in Canada. It was a breeding farm for standard bred horses. And this one horse was acting up, you know, big full size horse. And at that point, I thought I was just the toughest guy on the planet, right? There's nobody tough for me, nobody stronger. So I decided I was going to grab that horse around the neck and take him where he was supposed to go. He threw me through the air. It was hilarious. It's like I was a fly on his back. I learned my lesson. I was telling the story the other day where I talking about, you know, I'm thinking I was the toughest guy on the planet when I was a teenager and in college and all that. And Muhammad Ali came up to Northern Michigan University up in Marquette, Michigan, put on an exhibition. And they had me working security. I don't know how that came about. So I was like holding back the crowd. Here comes Muhammad Ali walking by him. My thought process was, I'm going to sucker him. I'm going to show how tough I am. I'm going to punch. I was seriously thinking about punching Muhammad Ali. And then I thought to myself, that's maybe not a good idea.
Yeah, right. He was fast. I've watched some video recently about him, and he was fast as hell. Some of the things that he did, God bless him. You know, he was amazing. As far as
he was probably one of the first athletes to really kind of brand himself too, right? Know how to market himself and the whole thing.
Yeah. He was interesting, outspoken. He made a, you know, he made a stand against the Vietnam War and everything that he did. Changed his name, became Muslim. He did a lot of things that were emulated afterwards that became popular. He was like that. And Curt Flood was a baseball player. He played for the St. Louis Cardinals. And he was the first guy. He's really the reason I believe that there's free agency in baseball. Yeah. So as far as you know what I'm saying? So he's another guy that was something else.
You know what's interesting with like Muhammad Ali too? Like there's going to be some people that say, well, he shirked out on his duty to serve the country. That's the way they're going to look at it. Other people are going to say he took a stand against the war. And I think he probably knew that going in, even though he felt good about what he was doing. There was going to be some people that obviously just didn't agree with him. I really admire that because, again, you're never going to please everybody, right? If you take a stand on something, some people, or even it's just your position in life or the career you want to choose or how you want to live your life, some people are just going to not agree with it whatsoever. And you got to accept that fact and just go ahead and do what you think is right for you too. So.
Well, I mean, listen, some of my favorites is The Man in the Mirror. You have to, you got to look at the mirror and you're the man in the mirror. So if you could live with the what you see in the mirror, great. That one I love. And I love Teddy Roosevelt, the Man in the Arena. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Man in the Arena. That's good. You know, in other words, nobody knows what it's like to be in the arena. Now, you as an athlete know what that is, and I know to a lesser extent. You on the pro level, but no one knows what it's like to be that guy. Yeah. You really, no one knows. And so as long as you're comfortable with yourself, okay, as long as I'm comfortable with myself, And believe me, I'm my worst critic. All right. You know what I'm saying? So the stuff that other people say, I think, especially at our age, or the sooner you learn this in life, if there's anybody in their 20s or 30s that are going to hear this, the sooner you learn that as long as you could look yourself in the eye, in the mirror, as long as you can justify what you're doing and feel comfortable with that, then who cares what people think?
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So God bless a guy like Ali. And that's not to say, you know, and everybody has their opinion about what he did and didn't do. And there's, you know, since then, there's been a number of other people that have taken stands that are unpopular.
Yep.
I think, excuse me, I think that if you can do it and not insult completely somebody else, well, that's a pretty good move in my mind.
Yeah, no, I agree totally. So November 7th, I'll be going up to Marquette, Michigan, my old school, Northern Michigan University. They're having me go back up there and speak to the student athletes up there.
Spectacular.
And it's got me thinking, because now Coach Conley, my coach from there, that I still call coach. I can't call him, his name's Rick, and I don't want to call him anything but coach because that's how I view him. He's back up there as the athletic director. So I just, you know, now I've got all these thoughts going on in my head about the way I was in the past. So when I went up there as an 18-year-old, fresh off the farm, it just was all out all the time. It's terrible. I think that Coach Conley, how he helped shape my life, where he was, again, I don't know how to describe it totally, but he gave me, what's that old saying? Give me enough rope to hang myself, but not too much because he let me do, he knew I needed to mature. I needed to learn from my mistakes. By the time we got to my senior year, and I wasn't like this all the time. When I went up there, I was a shy kid that hardly talked at all. But my senior year, we had a pretty good hockey team. We started off kind of, you know, so-so. And for one of the first times in my life, I really was able to stand up and speak from the heart with emotion and everything. So we stood up in the locker room. We were down in the game, I think, I don't know, like 7-6, or I can't remember. We were down by a couple of goals against the team. I don't want to insult them, but we should have been beating. So in the locker room between second and third period, I stood up. I just was like totally frustrated. I said, listen, we have got to get better. We don't want to be sitting here 20 years from now saying that we should have done this or should have done that. We don't want to do that with anything in our lives. Stuff was coming out of my mouth. And I was like, holy smokes, this is pretty good. I don't, because I never talked like that before. I got emotional. The other seniors got emotional because that was obviously we started the program together and now it was at the end. And it's funny, we were all fired up, just like rage going out of the locker room, like we were going to storm them. So we go out and they score on us right away. But we actually came back and won the game and then went on like a 22-game run that took us to the point where we were number one ranked team in the country. Now,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't want to paint the picture that was me. Obviously, it's a team game and the team guys. But it was just one of those moments. Funny to look back at it. And I know we've talked about this in the past too. Like even writing the book was like that for me, like looking back in my life. But it was just interesting thinking back. It's going to be pretty cool going back there and talking in front of the student body, the student athletes. So yeah.
I think whenever you talk to athletes, you have the ability, especially when you're going back to your home school and everything, to relate to them. I mean, you know better than anybody. I'll speak myself. I know better than anybody about wasting time by worrying about how you fit in, bullying, partying too much. You know, granted, you're not going to go. When I speak to athletes, I'm not going to say, listen, don't do drugs, don't do alcohol, you know, this and that. I'm going to say that I wasted a lot of time, you know, playing, being a fool. And if I could prevent just you to put a little governor on that, you know, great.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. Put a governor on it. They're not going to stop, right?
Yeah. No. I mean, look, if you do, great. But, you know, the bottom line is that you're going to be talking to guys who have anxiety, who might be depressed. You're going to talk to guys that might have big egos, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's how you govern all of that stuff that really is a measure of your success. You know, and as far as fitting in, well, guess what? Do we really want to fit in with a bunch of alcoholics? No, I don't. Me personally, I don't. I don't want to fit in with a bunch of drug addicts. And I can hang with either bunch. You know, back in the day, you always ran into people like that. I don't want to fit in with a bunch of negative people.
No kidding. Ooh, yeah,
right.
I agree. Yeah.
So I think gratitude. The fact is that you know, I'm not. I'll suggest, I'm not speaking for you, but look, you made it. You graduated that college. You made it to the NHL. You made it to the NHL, I guess, when there were only maybe 800 players out there. I don't remember how many
Yeah,
teams there
so
were back then,
21,
right?
21 teams when I played. So yeah.
So not even. So 21 teams. Even if we're generous and say 30 players up and down,
Yeah.
that's only 600 something players. And so you
Yeah.
are one of 600 in the world.
Yeah, it's interesting to say it that way too. It's like same thing
Wow.
when I went on Survivor. There was only 600 people had been on that show roughly too, and that's what kind of makes you think like, wow, that's pretty cool. All right, hold on. So don't fit in. I live in an issue here with Dory. Before she was
back
saying
again.
So before she was giving me a hard time, and now she's saying I'm not important enough for her, that she's overbooked. Like, so basically, that's what she's saying. I'm reading between the lines. She's saying you are not important to me, Tom. So I'm overbooked. Oh man. Oh,
listen, Dory, all I could suggest is that we have so much work to do with our Wellness Connect website, the lack of phenomenal expertise that we're dealing with in helping us.
We got to get into that.
Oh my God! You know what, Tom? I was so delirious yesterday. I had a real estate meeting, Zoom call, and I had a call on Wellness Connects, and I felt all by myself on both calls, and I didn't even have the mentality to like go over it. I didn't have it. So the website for Wellness Connect is less than excellent, and the real estate industry. We need some focus here, because if you think about it, there are entire houses for sale that are no longer standing.
Right. Oh.
So the real estate industry down here is it's like when you make a wrong turn with waves or something like that, and the thing has to recalculate. So there's got to be a real recalculation here of the real estate industry.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
So Dory. Here's Duffy.
So Brendan, we need to correct things a little bit. Tom's first goal break stick away years later. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I got an update on the dog situation too, but first of all, we're going to cover the first goal. So I'd already scored one goal. Then in the summer, we're working at a hockey camp. The young boy kind of cracks his stick. So I grab it, break like a smart, intelligent man. I grab it, break it over my head. So just no helmet or anything. So then they said, well, you won't do that with a real stick that's not broken. I said, well, sure, of course I will. So then that leads to, at the end of the week, the parents come in to see the kids play in the scrimmage at the end of the hockey camp, and the kids all want, Mr. Coach Laidlaw, will you break your stick over your head again? So, of course, they had to do that, and the parents are taking pictures, and then they said, well, you won't do it in a game. And I said, sure, I did. When I score my first goal, I'll go to center ice, break my stick over my head. So now I think, I was already drafted by the Rangers. So I go to score a goal, go to center ice, take my helmet off, turn and look at the goaltender from the other team, snap the stick over my head, and I hold two ends of the stick up, and I'm screaming at the goaltender. The referee actually came to me a while later. He says, listen, I was so shocked that you were doing that. I should have given you a delay game penalty, but I couldn't believe that you were actually doing that. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's so good. And 6 goals later, how many goals did you score in your career? I mean, not that it matters, but
in the NHL, 25 goals in 11 years. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good though. That's 25 goals.
I started off my first year. I had 6 goals.
6, right?
Yeah, and then Herbie came in, and he wanted me to be his defensive, which is actually probably what I should have been doing anyways. So I went one time with 120 games without scoring a goal one time.
That's tough. Yeah, that would be tough. That sounds like my men's league career. No, I can remember each goal.
Ira's back here now. Ira's got quite Dory could be Tom's next ex-wife. That's just
that's a good way of looking at it. I like that.
I guess you could look at that as a negative or a positive, right? Like assuming that the marriage would not work, and I'm a total failure when it comes to relationships. And
well, I wouldn't say that you're a total failure.
Not total.
Come on now, stop. Don't be tough on yourself. I got to tell you something else though. These knucklehead friends of yours, okay? Yes. I want to tell you, Duffy and this one and that and Ira and all of them, all reached out to me and wanted to know how I was doing. So I appreciate that. Everybody, I got to tell you, whoever is going to listen to this in the future too, I appreciate each one of you for doing that. I had so many people reach out to me, Tom.
Yeah.
It was
That's
incredible.
Good. I like that.
No, really. I mean, seriously, because it was, I mean, I might look decent right now, although I don't know how, we're obviously not in the studio, right?
Right.
But I got it. It was tough. It was tough when the routine gets yanked out of you. So in other words, if you can't do something if you can't go to the gym and you wake up and you can't even go to Todd's point, like in other words, they just your whole routine is ripped out of you by this hurricane, and then it stays that way. And guess what? You can't even get communication. All you're getting is hearsay because which I didn't realize, but you had to turn on the AM to get AM radio.
Oh, yep. All right, we lost Rich for a little bit. So I have to tell you the dog update. All right, it's been an ongoing saga with the dogs here in this condominium complex, and I've said it over and over. And part of it's joking around, but the other part is that there's been a lot of dogs barking. I don't know. It seems worse. I've been here for 3 or 4 years now, and it just seems like it's worse than ever. Really nice lady that lives beside me. Fantastic person. She's widowed. She has a small dog too. And the reality is the dog barks, but she tries her best to make sure the dog doesn't, well, it's a rich show. I'll get you a bit there, Bill. You just sit there. So she came over, and I guess I didn't realize, but I go sit out back and I have my little smart TV out back in my back deck there. And if the dogs get barking too much, I can't hear it. So I just turn the TV up. I guess unbeknownst to me, I was making it too loud and really was interfering with her life too. So I was out taking the garbage out to the dumpster, and she confronted me. She was not too happy. And we got along fantastic in the past. And I was really taken back because I thought it was me that was being inconvenienced with the dogs. Turns out she was being inconvenienced by the TV. So we settled down, had a great talk. We hugged it out. So she's a fantastic person. It was, I was really shocked. I felt terrible because it really had affected her. You know, she's there by herself and everything. So, so just so everybody knows, Dory is a breath analyst, or what do you do, Dory? We have not met each other yet. Dory, where do you live? I can't remember where Dory is, but so that's how we know Dory, in case anybody wanted to know. Olive wanted to know who Dory was. So while we wait for Rich, just an update on him, so you know what he's talking about. He is down in Naples, Florida, got hit pretty hard by Hurricane Ian. It was amazing. I was at on the weekend on Sunday. It was over Jones Beach in Long Island, and the remnants of Ian we're going through. We had a march there for pancreatic cancer through the Lustgarten Foundation, which goes through at Madison Square Garden. So we were not in the hurricane, but they had to shorten they couldn't go out on the beach and do the walk where we were supposed to. They had to shorten and just go around the parking lot. And again, that was just the remnants of Ian. So it must have been pretty nasty where they were. So he is back.
Oh, so you tried to get rid of me, huh? Oh.
Didn't work. Didn't work. Did not work.
Look at that, huh?
I was just updating everybody on the dog situation.
You and your freaking dog.
Yeah. So just this is a little bit of a breakthrough. So the woman next door to me is a fantastic woman. She's widowed, has a little dog, and she really does her best to try not to have the dog bark. And so it was last Thursday. It just happened to be last Thursday when I was doing the afternoon show by myself. She had put her dog out on the back deck, and the dog was barking nonstop right while I was doing the podcast. And again, she's a fantastic person. We've got along great. She really tries her best to have the dog not bark. So I did not realize that when I'm out back, I turn the TV up so I can hear the TV in my little TV when I was sitting out back, and I didn't realize how loud it was getting. So she was not happy with me, and she really confronted me. She came after me pretty hard. So I was really shocked that she was mad at me, because I thought it was me that was getting inconvenienced with the dogs barking. So I was kind of stunned at first, and I didn't even respond. I didn't want to get into a confrontation with her. So I finally said, listen, I'm shocked that we're having this conversation. I explained my side of it. I said, you and I have gotten along great in the past. I'm very sorry from my end if we did. We actually hugged it out and said, listen, I'm glad you came and talked to me. I had no idea what's going on. But I said, here's the problem that we're stuck in. Like, these other dogs are barking. She was great. It was one of those moments where when it started off, I felt like, wow, what's going on here? And then by the time we got done the conversation, it was good. And what I liked was that from my end, in the past, I may have just gotten mad and and I was able to think clearly and say, listen, this is a nice elderly woman who I've gotten along with in the past. Just settle down, have a conversation. So worked out well.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny though. It's very interesting how everybody seems to be going through something.
Yeah, it's true.
You just said you don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think that, and again, not everybody. There's still fantastic people, but a lot of people are just so stressed out now. It seems like what you're going through down there. The pandemic has gone through all that. Now you guys have to deal with this. I'm sure people are just like, what next has to happen, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. People are they have short fuses. They definitely have short fuses. So the less I engage with somebody like that, the better off I am. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think now that the important thing is to maintain whatchamacallit. You just have to be aware. I can only speak for myself. I have to be self-aware. I have to govern myself. I have to really be my own best advocate and my own best critic.
Yeah.
And not engaged, right? You could have said something wrong then and felt like a complete idiot, like, I don't know, 5 minutes later.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Right. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then again, I've gotten better at it. And again, I look and I go, God, I understand what she's going through now. Again, I still am frustrated by the dogs, but that doesn't mean she has to suffer that. I don't know if I ever told a story a couple of years ago. There's a really nice family from South Africa, two cute little boys. And, again, it was one of those moments where it was a summer day. I had the doors open, the screen doors were there in a little bit, and the kids were it's a condominium complex. So there's these open areas they're open to everybody. So they were playing outside my front door, and there's like 5 dads watching their kids play. They were doing nothing wrong. They were doing So I don't know what I was thinking about. I was like, I wasn't mad really. I just said to the dads, I said, do they have to play right here? And the one dad from South Africa who I had not met yet said, well, we don't have to leave, but we will leave. So I didn't think much of it. And then, but 2 days later, the little boy from cute kid who was sitting outside playing, and I walked by and I'd forgotten all about the incident. And he turns and looks to me and goes, oh, I remember you. You're the man that told us we had to leave.
Oh, God.
Oh, I felt like such a jerk. Like, it dawned on me what I had done, the impression I left on this little boy. And the dad was sitting in the background, and I said to the boy, so the dad could hear it too. I said, listen, I apologize. I was totally wrong. You can play wherever you want to play. So, the dad was very thankful. But now that they went from thinking I was a jerk to now thinking I'm the greatest guy in the world because I apologized. Well, I never should have said this stuff in the first place. But
I mean, listen, you're human. We're all human.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is we all do things that we regret. And it's just, I mean, think about all the stuff you did. I could look, all the stuff, some of the stuff that I did, growing up and throughout the years. What an idiot, but rather than beat myself up over it, let me go forward. Yeah. Let me go forward and try not to do it again. Number one. And even that is, I'm going to fail. Yeah. You're going to fail. You can't be perfect.
Yeah.
It's just,
and you're right too. Like that is a fact, and I do that. I think you do too. When you speak to people, I say, listen, there's 2 guaranteed facts. You're not a perfect person, and life is not fair. And that's the truth. And when those bad things come from that, then you just have to move forward. And if you did something wrong to somebody, you apologize, own it. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, that's what you do. I mean, once again, it comes back down to the man in the mirror. I mean, that's such a cliche. I get it, but when I look in the mirror, what do I see? Can I live with the guy I see in the mirror? Yeah, and also in the arena. I mean, nobody knows what it's like. There are a lot of people that don't know what it's like to borrow money, start a business, have it blow up, and do a phenomenal, with it, employ hundreds of people in numerous cities and all that kind of stuff. And then for whatever reason, it all goes to shit, quite frankly. And that's not the most fun. I don't advocate that. But that doesn't mean that anybody should be afraid of starting a business. You know what I'm saying? So you got to overcome the fear. Also, there's so many things that you have to be aware of, and you don't have to analyze it every second, right? I mean, and that's who talks like that.
You say when you're starting a business, Rich, you're talking?
Well, anything. When you start a business, I mean, there's going to be some natural fear, but you got to overcome that. You have to believe that what you're doing is correct, and if you want to second guess yourself, you should do it with some mentors. You should find some people that have already been in business, let's say.
Yeah.
If you're with a bunch of people that don't have businesses, well, then that, you might want to find somebody that had a business or have a business and,
Right.
and, chat with them. For me, it was Fran Tarkenton, and we talked about
Yeah.
this, numerous times, but I was lucky to have him, and bounce ideas off of him. I mean, Jesus, who better than a guy like that?
Yeah.
I mean, Hall of Fame quarterback, entertainment. He was on TV, but in the middle of all of that, he started Tarkenton Software, and that became just a humongous company back in the day. And Fran is still alive. I think he's 83 now, and we still talk. He's a great guy. I mean, phenomenal. But any of that, good.
So our other guy here is making funny a little bit.
That's okay.
Mentors.
Oh, mentor. Yeah. Listen, William has a name I can't even pronounce. Okay?
I know. Is that true?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Billy K. Billy K.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's picking on you he's picking on the way you talk.
I love
it.
I love it. He's got a name like that.
Yeah.
Why don't you buy a vowel and become like legible? I mean, or intelligible. Oh, how's that?
Sell
a vowel. Get rid of one of them.
So it's interesting you say that about mentors. So when I got in the agent business out of playing, I didn't actually get a mentor, but I bought the books that Mark McCormick wrote. Now, Mark McCormick was probably the first ever agent, started IMG, International Management Group, who I ended up working for. I didn't realize I was going to at the time. He wrote Things They Don't Teach You at the Harvard Business School, 110% Solution, all those. And you're dead on right. So when I read his books, I learned so much from him, like simple little things, like writing out a list. And not just writing a list, putting the easy things first and the hard things last. It's like write the list based on what you need to complete. Doesn't matter how hard or you want to do it. And it was little stuff like that was just real simple stuff that really made a difference in my life. Because I really, as an athlete, obviously, I didn't write out any list. It was like everything's done for you. You just show up and your equipment's there, your luggage is there, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's true though. The mentor thing, or at least like have somebody get a hold of somebody or some way to do some research to say, okay, how does this business really work? I'm going to do this business. I'm not going to get scared away, but I just need to actually educate myself on what to do and what not to do. So
just little tips. I mean, McCormick had good books. I did do a lot of reading in the 80s and 90s, and it helped me out tremendously. And McCormick had good books. Zig Ziglar was very good. Harvey McKay had an envelope company in Minnesota. Fran knew him from when he played on the Vikings. Anyway, he wrote 2 books. One was Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. And then the other book I read that he wrote was Never Buy a Shirt from a Naked Man.
Never buy a shirt from a naked man?
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's excellent.
Yeah, that's a good one. So and he had little tips that were spectacular. I mean, just spectacular tips. All of those guys, but it's so important to read, some of those books, and now we have social media. I mean, now that there's social media, there seems to be there are so many charlatans out there on social media selling courses, selling stuff. And I think the key there is try to find people that actually took their courses and have vast success. Like, in other words, if I wrote a course and I was trying to sell it to somebody, I would immediately, before I even tried to sell it, I would have some people test it and use their reviews to help me sell my course. And you hardly see any of that.
Yeah.
If you look, I mean, everybody has the cure for everything in the world, and yet it's just all a lot of BS.
Yeah, it's trying to figure out what's the real cure, because there is good stuff out there, but it's just trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah. And I know Fran was involved with Tony Robbins. When Tony Robbins first started, Fran was the guy who did the first infomercial with Fran Tarkenton was the guy who did the infomercial with Tony Robbins. Oh. So if you Google Tarkenton and Robbins, up comes Tony Robbins, and and but yet Fran is my go-to guy. He really is, and not to take anything away from Tony Robbins, but
you mentioned Zig Ziglar before, and I've heard his name so many times. Was he a motivational speaker?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Zig Ziglar was a fantastic motivational speaker, and I got a cassette back in the 90s, and it was by Zig Ziglar, and it says, "Who motivates the motivator?" Oh. And for me, I just used to listen to that every day because I was a young guy, and I owned a business, and was, whether it was the music business on tour, and being a tour manager, or when I had the transportation company, I had a lot of guys working for me. And how do you motivate them and I was able to, be motivational with these guys. But at the same time, who was motivating me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that was important. So when you're leading people, who motivates you? That's the secret sauce, really.
Yeah.
You
That's a
know?
great question because I don't know
Yeah.
what I get motivated by a lot of people. I think a lot. I see like every time you run into somebody, if they're doing something great or they've got something that you like. I mean, they're
Yeah.
you know what I like too. Like and I know you like this too. It's just constant learning. Like I've probably learned to improve myself more than I ever have. Like, not be satisfied. I think before I would get satisfied, even my NHL career, my goal was to play in the National Hockey League. I think there's periods of time during my NHL career, I just was satisfied to be in the NHL. If I look back at that, what I would have wanted to do was improve myself. Like look at guys like
Right.
Sidney Crosby, who's, constantly trying to improve himself. Tom Brady's like that. All those
Yep.
great athletes, they start off as one thing and then become more and more. So, yeah.
So they're never satisfied. They never
Yeah.
get complacent. Basically, they're always striving to get a little better.
Yeah.
Not even and we talked about this. It's get better, not perfect. Because
Yeah.
there is no perfect. I
Yeah.
feel there's no perfect, and you
Yep.
just try to get better. And that's also, I believe in that too. I mean, look, at our age, we could think we know it all. And in reality, I just know what I know from my experience, but I want to better myself by learning more,
Yeah.
today, tomorrow, even now
Absolutely.
with what we're doing here on the podcast. I just learned we could do something else with this StreamYard. And I'm all excited about it.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's always I think having an open mind and being
Yeah.
open to learn is really, it's important.
Yeah, and not worrying about what like you touched on before, not worrying about everybody else thinks. So I've got into this thing now, this dancing thing. So everything ever ever since I danced with Dancing Larry, now it's my mission in life to become a better dancer and not care what anybody else says and video and everything. So did you see the one the other
Yes.
on the beach smacking my ass and everything? Oh God.
You're smacking your ass. I know. I thought I was watching Jennifer Lopez in that
Oh,
stripper movie she
exactly.
made.
There you go. And I never would have done that before. I never would have danced in front of anybody before, like let alone in front of 18,000 people. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. Well, yeah, that was good though. Listen, why not? Don't take yourself. You can't take yourself too
Oh,
seriously,
no.
right? I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
You
We are
you make.
perfect in our imperfection. Alicia is back.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
We have to get her up there at least once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, so we got everybody touching base with us. So we got yeah, I'm on definitely tape delay here, but that's life.
That's
We'll
fine.
be in the studio next week. I really felt, yeah, the studio wasn't ready. The studio wasn't ready.
So I've said before, I have two sons that I'm very, very proud of. One is married and she's like my daughter now. And the other one has a girlfriend and she's part of the family as well. And they're independent men, but they sit and they know I've made mistakes and learned things in the past. And my oldest one and his wife, we discussed. It really wasn't them asking my opinion, but we had discussions about buying a house or renting a house and all that. And I said, man, I've owned houses. Man, it just always seemed to be I spent more money on the house than I got out of it. So I would probably want to rent again. Of course, they bought a house.
No, good.
I'm very proud of that decision too. We talked about it, but they still did what they thought was right. Then we had the discussion about getting a dog. And of course, I love dogs to death. Had dogs all my life, and growing up on the farm and everything. So I said, man, you'll love the dog, but if you get it, it's going to change your life. So of course, they got a dog. So I haven't met the dog yet. The dog's name is Maverick. It's a yellow lab. So I made a fresh batch of hummus today. So I'm going to drop it off and go see Maverick. So
Maverick, I like that.
Yeah.
I
But
like that.
you know what's funny? Like I really am proud of my sons, but because as much as they'll ask me my opinion, and I may say one thing, they don't necessarily go against me or with me. They just want my opinion, and then they'll just do whatever they think is right. So yeah.
Well, we're going to act on the side of caution with that stuff. I mean, having a
Yeah.
dog, it's really cool to have a dog, and but then you got to walk it, and can you go on vacation? You got to have somebody watch it, and
Yeah.
we've already had kids, so I don't know if I want to add another one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've had some dogs. I saw a rescue. I was with a rescue dog the other day and had a great time with it, and then I left. You know, it was like the
Yeah.
uncle who stops by.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as
It's
far as
fun.
that goes. Yeah, it's fun. But as far as buying or renting, I don't know which one you. Oh, here we go. Barry, what's with Barry?
Barry's back. Barry, how you doing, brother? Yes, actually, this is my first show this week. I know people wondering like, is Tom dead or something or what? So
what
Monday,
happened?
what Monday we had a golf outing, Ranger golf outing. Chase is one of the partners with the Rangers, puts on the event.
Sure.
Sleepy Hollow Country Club, beautiful,
Nice.
right on the Hudson River.
Yeah.
It was tad cold, tad windy. We were, the caddies that usually are with us stay out of the way. They'll give some advice, on putting or where to hit the drive or whatever. We had a caddy. We call him Coach Caddy now because Coach Cameron, lively guy, always giving advice and almost like a cheerleader too. Like, he was like really cheering the guys on. He was very entertaining, great guy. So Cameron, if anybody goes to Sleepy Hollow, ask for Cameron as your caddy. He did a great job. Tuesday, then Jackie was still, she had some stuff she had to deal with. So she'll be back next week. She's our hypnotist. And then Wednesday, the one we do on Wednesday, Kevin Allen, he'd gone to Italy on a 2-week vacation. So,
nice. Italy.
So I had to pull Rich out of the rubble down there in Naples to do a show. So
yeah. Well, I'm not going to let you down when you came out. I would have been on the yesterday show, Kevin Allen. We could have talked hockey. There you go.
That's true. That's true too. And again, I'll be back at 2:00 for my own show, which turned into my own show now. I am going to start getting some guests for that show. So.
Come on.
That's true. I never thought of this. Maverick dealing with the Pepper and the other dogs around here.
I don't think Maverick sounds like he might win. What kind of dog is Maverick?
Yellow lab, but he's that puppy now that's just like cuddly and everything like that. I don't think he has a mean bone in his body right now. So,
well, I was with a pit bull and some other kind of mix the other day. I ran into some beautiful people from Cuba, and I got my hair cut in the guy's garage. And they had a rescue pit bull, a female who I became enamored with, and we had a little moment there. What a beautiful dog! Nice. But I don't think that would really work with Pepper.
No, I know. Yeah. Do you trust pit bulls?
As much as I trust myself. I mean, I'm always. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do I trust them? I definitely am going to try to. I want to very quickly assess like how cool they are, So this one, it's funny. There's no coincidences. I had seen a video recently of Mike Tyson and a pit bull he had met for the first time, and all he did was like wrap his arms around the pit bull and start kissing its head. So when I saw this pit bull, I did the same thing, and you know what? It worked. So. Yeah, it was a cool dog.
I guess it's unfair to separate a breed out. They're animals. They're dogs, right? I mean, I mean, everybody says, well, he's never bitten anybody. Well, yeah, until he's bitten somebody. He's never bitten anybody.
Right. Yeah. No, it's funny, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you now, anytime I see a dog, I think of you son of a gun, because of all your issues with these little dogs. And even that little video I made for you, which you probably still haven't seen, of the dog barking and did you see that yet?
I think I saw it. Yeah, you sent me.
Listen to you. Come on, it's a little dog video, and then afterwards you say, "If you are not happy where you are, just leave. It doesn't matter. Don't even worry about where you're going. Just get out." It was all about you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then okay, I'll send it again. That's okay. I'm used to rejection.
So as everybody knows, I don't golf. So when they have me go out there on the golf course, it's just for pure entertainment purposes. And yes, I can be. So again, I don't golf. I don't even try. So of course, I have to give everybody advice on what they should be doing. But I tell you, the foursome I was with on Monday, some good golfers. Ooh, this one guy, a few guys. This a couple guys are really Andrew, Ryan, Mike. Oh, they're watching. Oh, good guys.
Oh, they were good golfers, huh?
Yeah, they were hitting some shots where it was pretty funny. So because Ryan in particular was this really good golfer. Young guy, probably late 20s, early 30s, really nice guy and everything. Pretty confident in his game too. He was like borderline, but it's funny, cocky kind of thing. Yeah. And so Cameron, the caddy, just fell in love with Ryan because he was the good golfer. So it's like we were told Ryan, like, "Oh, geez, I think there's something going on between you two." And Cameron likes you, so
that's fun. Isn't it funny though? No matter how good these guys are, they're not pros. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's amazing. Like golf is such a frustrating game because no matter what. No matter what, you're not a pro.
I can imagine, like as good as Ryan was, I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's not a pro. I imagine how good the pros are to be able to do the stuff there. Yeah.
I mean, to be around those guys, that's crazy. It really is. So you didn't hit one ball at all.
So they
for
finally
3
got
hours.
me. I typically don't. They try to get me to hit one putt at the end. I keep saying no all day long. I said, okay, I'll hit one putt, and I'm totally cocky too. Like, and I told the story a few years ago. I was being totally cocky, sunk like a 30-foot putt to it. I went to chest bump this one poor little guy, and he saw me coming. He's like, no. So they had me a long putt. We had about like 30, 35-foot putt. They did actually last hole. And it came pretty close, but that didn't go in. So yeah, it was fun.
Oh my God, that's fun. But I mean, I would have to believe that if you hit 10 drives, well, there's 18 holes, right? I think if you drove the ball 18 times, they would be able to use at least 4 or 5 of yours.
Well, have you ever seen Charles Barkley golf?
Yes.
His me?
Yeah.
That's me. That's me.
That's you?
I have no. And every hockey player I know is that just picks up the club and spanks it. It's just like a really good golfer, and I just, yeah.
And you just have no desire to like even get close. Like in other words, you either want to be really good at it or not do it at all.
I think that's the problem. Yes,
that's and you don't want and you don't have the time really to hit minutia golf balls.
Yeah, and the whole thing, like the etiquette thing, and putting on a pair of pants, pull them up to your nipples, and that kind of stuff.
That is, I was invited to a golf tournament last year down here in Florida, and I show up, and I didn't have a belt. I didn't have a belt on. I had golf pants, and I had the polo shirt, the golf shirt, right? And I knew enough to tuck it in, but I didn't have a belt. Well, I didn't need a belt. I don't know. But guess what? I couldn't play. I had to buy a belt from the pro shop.
They wouldn't let you play because you didn't have a belt?
No belt, so I had to buy a belt.
Okay, so hold on. They would not let you play without a belt.
You needed a belt. So when you say the etiquette stuff, you needed a belt.
That's the thing that with me, the golf is like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Like I want to go. I want to go into the gym and be grunting and groaning and dancing around. I don't want to be. Yeah.
Well, that's another thing when you go to the gym and not that I know you're in the same way. I mean, it's not like I'm gratuitously like making noise at the gym, right?
Yeah.
But there are some gyms that you go to where like even if you just drop the weight a little bit, everybody looks like, oh.
I know. Well, I've got the advantage of getting the key in the morning before he gets there, so I'm by myself. Oh, so a really nice guy comes in the gym. This Frank guy. He's a physician. I think he does like soft tissue stuff and everything. Really nice guy. He's getting a little older, wants to keep himself. He's working hard and everything.
Yep.
So he's come to me for to push him a little bit. So he was doing dumbbell bench press, and he I could tell mentally he was making excuses. So he just done the flat bench pressing with the barbell. Now he's going to go dumbbell. So he's saying to himself, "Oh, I'm tired from doing it before." So I said, "Listen, Frank, you're going to be tired because you're telling yourself you're tired. You're not tired. Let's get this weight up." So he's doing 55 pounders on each side.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm spotting him to try to get the first one up. You grab under the elbows and push it up.
Yep.
So we get him up and he drops the weight. Like usually if somebody drops the weight, they drop it to the side. He dropped it straight now. And I'm seeing this happen. I'm like, it just glanced off his face a little bit. He helped me. God, I felt so bad because here I was pushing him, thinking I'm helping him. Because again, I've never seen anybody drop it like that. And but I gave him credit. We turned it around into a positive. I said, Frank, let's get this straight. You just dropped a 55-pound dumbbell on your face, and you're still standing. So let's go. This great day.
Well, way to go, Coach. That was good. Yeah. But because 255s, that's a pretty good amount of weight. That's not the baloney there.
Yeah, and he's an older guy. He's not like he's probably 60 or something like that. So it's like you can tell he's worked out, but he's not he's not totally jacked or anything like that. So
yeah. Well, that's the whole story with that is though. I mean, for me, whenever I lift weight like that, I always before I even pick it up, I'm mindful of where I'm going to escape. Yeah. Like, how am I going to escape from this? And I think that's the key to lifting heavy weights is where's your escape route?
Yeah, it makes me think of something too. There's this John W. Brick Foundation, which I'm newly a member on the board, and John W. Brick. So Victor Brick owns like 100 of those Planet Fitnesses. Has been very successful.
Sure.
His brother was schizophrenic, I believe, passed away 2 or 3 years ago. So they started the John W. Brick Foundation. That was his brother, John W. Brick, obviously. So they wanted to do a series of videos. Now, of course, in my mind, they said, Tom, we want you to do a 10-minute video. And I know they were very clear with this of a workout that you can do in 10 minutes with no equipment. So now I kind of time had gone by. I make it into like an hour and a half workout where you're pounding iron. You know,
Oh,
I condensed it into a 10-minute work. So I said, and I really thought I had forgotten what they said to me. So I'd sent the video in and they go, well, Tom, like, thank you very much, but that really wasn't what we wanted. So I've got to get back. I got to do another one today I've got to come up with some workouts with no weights. I've done in the past at the start of the pandemic. I used my propane tanks out in the back to work out with. So I think I'm going to simulate that, do some curls, some military press, some squats with it, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, you can hang off something.
Yeah,
totally. You could toss the dog in the air.
Dog toss. The pepper.
The pepper push. The pepper push.
I got the dog. I'll land there. Do bench presses with the dog. I'll lay on the ground.
Imagine.
Oh, excellent. That would be fantastic. If I went over to them and asked them, can I do that?
Can I use your dog?
Oh God,
that would be absolutely hilarious. Yeah, no. But I mean, all that stuff. So you good.
I'll do that with my son's dog today. I'll get Maverick and do some.
Wait a second, Tom. Hold on.
What?
Find a step ladder. Get a step ladder toss. Bend your knees.
I didn't get that at first. I lost that.
Yeah, the step ladder. How could you forget the step ladder, for Christ's sake?
Oh, that's funny. Oh,
wow.
That's
I'll tell you the other thing about not being in the studio. When I do look at myself on the monitor here, I don't look good at all. The studio really fixes my hair and my face. I love that place.
Oh, you got me thinking now too. The step ladder.
Yeah, the step ladder. Listen, you need a step ladder. If you have a propane tank, that's good. But I mean, on the serious side, you could do tricep. You could do your triceps, right? You could do everything: tricep, bicep, the whole
military press, squats,
everything. Yeah, 100%. And if you had a half Bosu ball, you could do all your balance stuff.
Well, they want me to use no equipment at all.
Oh, no equipment at all. Gotcha. Okay.
Nothing that would be used for lifting.
Okay. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things you could do.
Maybe we'll get the drone going. Maybe we'll get the drone going. I'll have the drone above.
Now, have you, because I know how technologically adept you are, have you been able to fly the drone and at the same time get the video?
No. So I haven't even flown the drone yet. So here's what's happened. Okay. So where I live, it's covered by trees and everything like that. So I'm on my back deck trying to get this thing going. I get to the point where I need to hook it up to the GPS. But there's too many trees around. Now, I don't know if I have to go step, but guess right after the GPS hookup, it shows you how to unlock the rotors. And I go to unlock the rotors, it doesn't work. And I'm assuming it's because I need to go step by step and get everything done. I've been able to pair it. Then there's also, what else to do? There's other thing you got spinning around. It's a little bit complicated hookup.
Gyroscope, the whole bit.
Yes.
So here's the cheat sheet. Go to a football field.
Yes.
All right, go to one of those high school football fields and with the instructions and everything, and go with somebody younger than us by 40 years to get some 20-year-old kid who has his stuff together, who's good with technology.
That is true. Because I'm reading this thing. I've got it down. Like I'm one of these things where I do it over and over like 10 times, and I get stuck at a certain point when I start over and in. So I think I've got it down pretty much. But yeah,
because I'll tell you, it is so much fun. Once you as long as you're telling me that if you go forward with the little throttle, it goes forward, and it's not the opposite. Like a helicopter, when you fly a helicopter, you got to go opposite to fly it. Yeah, which is I can't do that anyway. And the one that I got, the drone that I had, I still have it, but I crashed it. The drone I had, you had to go opposite. So if you wanted to go up, you'd have to go back on the front, it's just a pain in the ass. So
and I know you told me that. So when I got mine, I opened up the package. You actually had a little card there with it to show the directions you want to go. And I was happy to see that was not the case. So.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And you have the little button that actually it shoots up. You can make it shoot up and there's that.
I don't think I've got that. Maybe I do. It's the
one
where there's one that follows you. You set the GPS obviously so you can go to a certain point to have it stay there. Yeah.
So the over and under on this, because I know how much you like to ask for help. The over and under on this is probably, I would say, conservatively 6 months.
I was definitely going to do over under as a month. There's no question.
Yeah, no.
Isn't that true? So what happens with me is I get all gung ho. I've got the drone.
Yeah,
I go to get it going and I can't get it going. And now other things get going. And I said, okay, I got to get back to the drone. I even put the drone in the back seat. So when I go to the beach, I figure, okay, I'm going to get there. But then I got other things. I got to make this video for the Brick Foundation. So,
yep. Yeah, too funny.
Yeah,
It really
definitely.
is.
Was down at the Ranger game last night. We're in the suite with the Empire City Casino people.
Oh,
In
nice.
Yonkers
Yeah,
there.
Yonkers. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
funny. And I was just telling this one woman about how the pot from sucks things, where they're generated from and everything like that. And I figured
Yep.
they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it tonight. It's an exhibition game. But right after I said that to her, yeah, they did the old pot from sucks. So.
Did they really? Well, old habits die young. God bless.
Yeah. Well, I've seen them do it at Yankee games. So anybody that doesn't know, Dennis Potvin played for the Islanders for many years. Was a great player. Won 4 Stanley Cups with the Islanders. In the late 70s, it might be 79, he hit Ulf Nielsen at the Garden. And most people think it was a clean hit. Ultimately, Ulf Nielsen broke his ankle, I think it was. So Potvin became public enemy number one. He'd come in, he'd be standing there at the national anthem, and they were throwing fish at him, like stinky old fish and everything. Oh. And years have gone by, obviously, since he's played, and the chant at the Garden was Potvin sucks. So somebody does this specific whistling, and then everybody knows to say Potvin sucks. And it's gone on, like I said, it's 2022. And how's it go?
What? I can. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And everybody goes, yeah. So Ira says they've even done it at the circus here too. So it's become, actually, I saw him get interviewed about it, and he was just astonished. He said, it's still going on. He says, enough's enough. It's gone on for like 50 years here now. But wow. Yeah, it's pretty, I think it's actually fantastic that, the Ranger fans they remember that. It is funny. Some people can't even remember why they're doing it. They just know that the yell Potvin sucks.
But. Yeah, they know exactly. He's the poster boy for futility.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Well, I'm glad you're doing well.
I'm alive. I'm alive, baby.
Yes, you're alive. It's inconvenient. Again, I don't think it's as bad. We went through Sandy. It sounds like it's worse where you are, but again, we lost our power for a week there. And it is funny. At first, when you lose your power, you're like, oh my God, this is just terrible. Actually, one of the good lessons that came from it after a few days is like, there's a lot of people live in the world without any power at all. So
I'll tell you what, there were times when like you actually got used to it. You got used to it, and it was at times peaceful. But being in a hurricane, this was different from Sandy. This was a lot more dangerous for me because I was closer to the water, and it definitely wiped out where it hit and wiped out what was the beach. And after we get off, I will somehow get you the video that I put together because it's interesting and enlightening. It definitely is a disaster zone down here, and there is some funds that people can donate to if they're interested. And if not, I understand as far as that goes. It was great to see you, brother. And it was good hearing from you throughout this thing, and waking up and seeing that you were still on the march and all of that. And I look forward to talking to you, obviously, every day. And I'm not going anywhere.
Definitely. They can't kill you. They
can't not yet. No, not yet. There's too much work to do, brother. All right.
Definitely. Okay, and everybody remember that suicide hotline 988. I think it's really important. Everybody remember that number. If you're feeling down or like you're going to hurt yourself at all, don't be afraid to pick up that. And again, everybody, if you see some, especially anytime, but all the stuff you guys are going through down there, reach out to each other and help each other. So.
Yeah, gratitude. For me, that's the key.
All right, get out of here. I'll see you next week.
See you. Bye.